All right, for those of you catching the recap, I just want to say real quick, I'm waiting for people to actually get into the live before I start showing things off. If you're watching a recap of this, I want to say thank you for watching. Today's live is not brought to you in part by Coke Zero. Coke Zero, all the taste of Coke, none of the calories. Anyways, just want to say thank you for watching. Sorry about that. We're a really thirsty day. So, anyways, let me go ahead and actually start. Hopefully, people can join in, and if they do, feel free to leave a comment in the chat. Just bit my tongue. So that being said, all the Dart Zone products have now launched in the stores. If you saw the review that I did on the Delta Pro, that now has an upgrade kit with the buffer tube stock, and I went ahead and said, you know what, time for me to make some things for the Nexus Pro X. Now the MPX was released. There were a couple of things that were wrong with it. I filmed a review. I need to edit it. I haven't launched it quite yet, but when I do, you'll see what I'm talking about here. But it needed some quality of life improvements. And I was actually having a discussion with Gims Mods and with Milo's Mods about it. And they were like, hey, you know what? We should, do something like this. So I got to work and came up with a few things because one of the things that I did not like about the NPX was the fact that it had four different colors on it. Now, usually when it comes to 3D printed builds, you have a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary color. Generally, that third one tends to be like an orange of sorts. But in this case, they did the hot pink with white, with black, and with orange. Now, there's nothing wrong with the white, in my opinion. I think the white looks really good with the pink. The black goes really good with the pink. White goes okay with orange. Black goes good with orange. But the hot pink with the orange is such a jarring look that I had to take care of something about that. So we devised a total kit for it. This is now going to be available to purchase at the Big Blaster Consortium. I have had a request to get the files for the buttstock. That will eventually become available once I recoup the R&D that I had to do for the actual buttstock here. I may go ahead and actually launch these files. I also need to clean it up a little bit because when I print, I have to do some cleanup to get the file actually ready for people to use. So that being said, this is what the actual kit is going to look like. Let me stand back from the camera. You may have seen this on Reddit already. I posted it earlier. It utilizes a couple of things that are proprietary and things that were pre-existing designs. So, for example, the pre-existing design aspect, these actual iron sights were part of the SOCOM kit that were developed by France Foamworks for the original NPX Pro. I went ahead and actually resurrected those and decided to actually attach them to a rail riser. Now, this is an adjustable iron sight. Adjustable is kind of a weird thing because you have to really want to wiggle it. The tolerance is so tight on here that you have to tap to adjust it, but technically it is adjustable. It's not screwed down. It's just friction fit on here. In this case, I actually printed this using a glow filament that I had just enough left to do something like this. And that's that. Now, I do have now another hot pink. I was able to source this for other products as well. So just to let you know, the rail riser as well. That is a recycled design. Also, this rail riser was the design for the hindsight rail riser that I created for the Nexus Pro X. I'm sorry, not the Nexus Pro X, the motorized piston pump. What I went ahead and did was actually lowered it down a little bit so it's not as tall, and you no longer can see through it because it's made just for a rail riser. And it also doubles as a sort of carry handle. You can fit your fingers through here and hold your blaster like this. Now, this is friction fit on here. You'll see that there's an absence of holes. Well, there will be an absence of holes in the final design. This is actually just a prototype. And what that means is that once you put this thing on here, it's not sliding around. As you can see, it does not want to slide around at all. Putting it on here, you do have to take like a mallet to it. You want to line it up and you just want to tap it in. It's something that I trust my print quality enough that I can actually do that. So there you have it. It is pretty solid. I would actually show you how to take it off, but again, I always get teased that the hammer always comes out. The next part that's actually a new design is this right here. This is actually a slightly at an angle foregrip. What this allows you to do is it allows you to have a harder spring load on here, and that way when you're priming it, your hand's not going to slip. The problem that I had with the AFG that came with this blaster was that it was very skinny, and also the plastic was so smooth that you would lose your grip on just regular springs if you were to try to prep too fast. So unless you had a death grip on it, your hand would slip off of it. This actually feels more comfortable to hold, and you have that nice little beaver tail there that you can put your thumb in and grip like so. So it is kind of a bigger grip. It's made for adult hands. G Rex was saying, "Oh, it's too chonky," but again, he has a child's hands. The other part that's additional, that's new here, is the actual collet system. Now, this collet system, it is inspired by a real steel counterpart of the AK, and it has the gas block where you actually just can put your P card in here. Now, the P card does fit in there without a problem. It's not going to fly out. You know, as you can see, it can go completely vertical. You can fling it around. It's going to be fine. And then, of course, you have the locking nut here. It is going to come with an O-ring to secure the barrel. I have would be a 12-inch barrel. I believe that's like a 30-centimeter barrel in this right now, but it is designed for up to 40 centimeters, so it can max out the barrel itself. Hey, what's going on there, shotgun? Um, the way that this is designed, you can see that there is a gap there in the nut. I designed this so that you can slip the actual V car in here and it fires without a problem. So it is a seamless integration with B-Car, and this is with, again, a standard 12-inch barrel. If you did a 40-centimeter barrel or a 13-inch barrel or 35-centimeter barrel, you can actually mount the P-Car on it. The P-Car does not work with the smaller barrel because, as you can see, it's wider there. That, unfortunately, is part of the design itself. But once you use the extended barrel like you're supposed to for this kind of a build, you'll see that it actually does work just fine. The other thing that I went ahead and designed for it is this buttstock. Now, this buttstock has an integrated cheek rest on it, and it is powered by a regular pen spring, so it is extendable. And you can see that it doesn't have the rattle that you had before with the standard stock. So, all in all, it's a quality of life improvement. And with the cheek rest like this, with the elevated rail riser and the sights, you don't have to crane your neck so much like this or hold the blaster like this to be able to aim properly, because that's not how you aim with an actual rifle. Anyone who's trained with anything with real steel would know that the NPX had that issue with the sights being so low you could not aim with it properly without bringing the blaster up to your face. Yes, it is, Bill. So it is a very sturdy stock. Now, this entire kit, it's going to go for about $45 on my store. Like again, I am going to be selling the file for the buttstock because there's been a lot of demand for that, and that needs to be cleaned up because, as I said earlier when I started the live, I want to make it so that when you print it, all you have to do is remove the support. You don't have to worry about shaving anything. There's just a couple of tweaks to the design that I have to do before I actually sell it. As it stands right now, since I'm the one who is doing everything, when I print it all out, I actually shave it down. I sand it down for you. I deburr it. I glue everything on here because this does require glue to put together. The butt plate itself, that is a separate piece. That way, when you print it, you can print this vertically without having to use any weird brim or anything like that. Or if you do have to use a brim, it's fine. If you do a brim with something like this, it gets hard to remove. So there is that. But that is the new product for the Big Blaster Consortium. Of course, I did showcase this before when I was still putting it together. This is the next thing that's going to be launching. This is the Mag Can. Um, and it is for the sample version. That is a QR code that takes you to the Big Blaster Consortium. You can actually try to scan that with your phone if you have a separate phone from what you're watching on right now, and that'll take you to the store. So um, we are working. I'm partnering with NPX Australia, and sorry, yes, yeah. Anyways, Nerfer X Armories and whatever. Anyways, so I am partnering up with Nerfer X. He also goes by Peter Parker in Australia, and him and I are devising a way to do a mag can for the Nightingale magazines. The purpose of the mag can, and I've just said to people before, a lot of people like to wear belts over their bodies. I've used a chest rig before. The problem with the belt and with the chest rig is that when you have a blaster slung over you and you're trying to grab it, the all your magazines are going to get in the way unless you're actually pulling up from the side. Not to mention muscle memory is important because when you actually have to find and where exactly your magazines are at, it takes critical seconds away from reloading. With the mag can, you can actually reach behind to the same area, pull the magazine out, and put it back in, and you are fine. It's gonna, instead of having to memorize where all your magazines are on your body, you just have two spots: one to slip it in, one to pull it out. And actually, about 30 minutes of training yourself, it becomes second nature. The purpose of me doing the Nightingale magazines is because that way you can actually run one for standard talents and one for angle talents, or sorry, mini angle talents, and you can have a mag can for your primary, a mag can for your secondary, or if you run a mini angle talents primary, you have both. So there you have it. Regarding the glue, so the glue that I use on this thing, it is actually, oddly enough, it's Gorilla Glue Super Glue Gel, because it's rated for up to 2,000 pounds of pressure. That is what I use for all of my products, and I test it because once it seals together, usually at right around 50 seconds to a minute, you got a good bond, and then after about an hour and a half, uh, I try to pull everything apart. So, for example, with the rails for the piston pump, the barrel shroud, I glue those on, and if I don't glue them on straight, I have to reprint a barrel shroud. I've actually had to do that before because that glue is so tight. Yeah, it's impressive. It's impressive how tight it gets. The only time that I've ever had an issue with it coming undone is with extreme heat and humidity. Um, and yeah, it just hadn't set properly. Let me see what this message in the chat is. Ah, yes, yes. Well, speaking of your reenactments, actually, let me go get something really quick because I have something that I'm going to showcase here according to the title, and it's somewhere around here. I know I just had it. Where did it go? Hmm. I know I just had it. But here's part of it. Ah. So our very own Cyclops Warrior in the chat, he actually commissioned me to build something. For those who do not know the history, when the Calypso came out and I did my little introduction on the Calypso, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, how much would you charge me for a Calypso?" I basically charged him for filament and shipping, and a little bit of print time. And that's about it because I'm not licensed to sell Calypso. But based on what I've heard, I probably should be licensed to sell it because of the fact that my builds for Calypso tend to fire faster and are more consistent and more solid than the ones from Out of Darts. Hey, what's going on there? What's going on there, CR? So he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, you know what? I'd really like to have some sort of like kind of a musket build." And my first thought was Carney Rex. Now, when I first got into 3D printing and talking about 3D printed blasters, I saw this design. It was a free design on Cults 3D, and I downloaded it, but never got to build it because I gave up 3D printing for a little bit because the Ender 3 is a horrible printer. But anyways, so it is the Flintlock Musket by Carney Rex. Now I have to back up because this thing's a big blaster. So it is about half my height, and it is basically a full-size musket. Now, it does have a ramrod in here, and you can get the hardware kit off of Frontline Foam. The hardware kit's only about 55 bucks. I would recommend getting the hardware kit because of the fact that the plunger tube for it does have certain holes that are drilled into it, and you got to make sure that it's done properly in order for you to put this thing together correctly. Derrickson also does a great job. I know that he's not the most popular person in the hobby because of shenanigans. However, he does a great job in explaining how to assemble the blaster. So that being said, I do want to talk about this blaster really quick. And since the purchaser is here, I'm going to explain a couple things. I will probably be doing a full review on it later on before I send it out to you, just to let you know. I'm going to explain some about the build process. So we wanted to go as realistic as possible because this can be used for reenactment purposes and for LARPs. Of course, you do have an orange safety tip here because that way you can take it somewhere and people realize it is just a toy. Other than that, it's hard to tell in this lighting, but it is hyper realistic in person. This metallic gray that I used on the barrel, it really does look real in real life. Yeah, I'm glad that you like it. And then, of course, I did go with like a bronze coupler filament here. It does look brown, but in certain lighting, once you actually take it into the sunlight, it does look like gold, like a golden bronze. And then, of course, you can attach an actual bandolier here and here, so you can sling it over your shoulder just like a colonial soldier. It does come with, and I know that you said no bayonet, but this is an option. You literally just line it up, twist, and you have a bayonet here. This is 3D printed plastic. Do not run into anybody with this, or else they're going to have a bad day. And take it off. You just go like that. Now, performance-wise, this flintlock, it is technically functional in the sense that you can lock and you can pull and it releases. However, it's just for show. It doesn't do anything regarding the firing of the blaster. To prime it, of course, you just take your ramrod. You're going to prime first, push that all the way down. You'll hit it quickly. Whoopsie. I just stabbed something with this ramrod. Anyways, you're going to take either a rival round or a dart. Let's do a rival round. You're going to shove that in here. Rival round should rest well into the barrel. This blaster is now ready to fire. Now, with rival rounds, I've got inconsistent readings. And let's see here, because the first time I shot one, it was like 94. The second one was like 150. 149. So I think I did something wrong the first time. And then when it comes to half darts, if you do a bamboo dart, I shot up to 210. Other darts can go anywhere between 179 and 190. So this is a pretty powerful blaster, and it is a single fire blaster. I will tell you also that with this blaster, on the ramrod, and it's important that you look at it, there's lettering in the top here that says, "Do not pass here." Let me see if we can get that on camera. There we go. So it has a little line here. That is how far you want this ramrod to go when you are pushing the dart down. You don't want it to go any further than this because you risk pushing the dart all the way down into the plunger tube. Now, like I said, you can technically shoot half darts, but you can also technically shoot full-length darts as well. So we're going to take a full-length dart. That's a elite dart. You just drop it in there, push it down with the ram. Now, because it's a full-length dart, I'm not going to go as deep as you can. So as you can see, the line says there. I'm going about 1.5 inches over it. Slipping this in here and firing it through my chronograph. This should get right around 170 or 150. Holy cow, 195. So we got 195 with standard length elite dart in this thing. It is pretty powerful. Now, in the event that you load the dart prior to actually priming the blaster, your dart's going to be stuck in there because it is a brass barrel. It's not going to fall out. I've already had it happen a couple of times. I tested it out to see if I could actually tip the barrel out. The good news is that there are 3 screws that you have to do to disassemble this blaster enough to take it out. This screw right here, you pull it out. You have to leave it in still a little bit. Maybe pull it out so like 3 inches are showing. This little 10mm screw right here. And you can leave this one in, but I take it out anyways because this piece is what connects the barrel to the actual back part of the blaster. Once you do that, this blaster will be able to pull open. You remove this barrel piece, and that exposes the plunger tube, the spring, and the actual plunger rod. So you pull that out, you'll be able to pull your dart out, and Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You're ready to put it back together again. So all in all, it takes about 10 minutes to do that. But it can be a pain in the butt, kind of like the Calypso, should you load it prior to actually firing it, or sorry, priming it. So there you have it. This one, uh, Bill, I loved this build, and I kind of hate you for a little bit because of the fact that I'm now gonna have to spend money because I want one. But I will tell you though, regarding the build on this thing, um, don't be surprised when you feel it. If you're going to be wondering if I actually whittled this, I did use wood PLA, and at first when I used it, the wood PLA it has a weird feel to it because when you print in wood PLA, it's wood filament that's interweaved with the plastic, so it still feels like plastic, but it has like a rougher texture. Well, what happened was that what had happened was that I had actually purchased some cherry wood filament. Y'all saw me probably in my previous live where I showed you how it looked on the Griffin, um, and I ran out. I thought that I had enough left to do this blaster, and I ran out with about maybe 75 layers left to print on the final two parts. So I figured out that the best way to do it would be to sand the entire blaster down and stain it. Um, yes, our Cyclops Warrior is another build. So yeah. And CR, you probably remember that I was in that the Dads of Foam chat where I was like, man, what do I do? And you guys were talking about sanding it and staining it. This was the final product. It is a very dark brown wood. So this is actually after staining everything. And because of the fact that I sanded it down, not only does it have this nice, like, multi-layered texture to it, but when you feel it, you actually can't tell that it's plastic anymore. It has almost like a weird, like, I want to say fuzz to it, where you think that it's kind of like a unfinished wood like texture. That's not, a wood that hasn't been lacquered. That's what it feels like, to be honest. So that happy mistake led this to being even more realistic. So yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of this one. Now I will say that there's a couple of like minor imperfections in the actual barrel, but that's just the way that the file prints. But you can't really tell at a distance, and even up close, it looks more like just a weathered, old school, like definitely like Revolutionary War musket. So the cool thing is, again, like I said, you can shoot rival rounds. You can shoot the foam dart, the half darts, the 50 cal foam balls from it as well. I don't have any of those to test with, but it's just a standard 50 cal foam ball. So I may do something here really quick. See if Hyper will go anywhere. Oh shoot, because Hyper is bigger than 50 cal technically, but it's not as big as a rival round. And I'm wondering if it's capable of launching Hyper. Let's see. Nope, it does not launch Hyper. It just spills out. So, yep. Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm not gonna lie. This. So, um, Derek will literally say on his video that this is a. It can be used as a wall piece, and he's not entirely lying. This is something that I would gladly hang up on my wall, without a problem any day of the week. So there you have it. Now I will warn you one thing. This screw is secured. Per the instructions, he recommends using a 20 millimeter, I guess, bolt. It is secure. It's just a little long, but it's too short to use the 10 millimeter. So unfortunately, he doesn't include a 15 millimeter in here. So that is out just slightly, but it does not affect the blaster itself, just so you know. If you see it, you're going to be like, oh, okay. And you try to screw it in, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So, but there you have it. I hope to get this out to you shortly. When I ship it out, I will be reaching out to you to let you know how much the shipping is going to be. Because yeah, obviously when we worked out our arrangement, I didn't know how big it was going to be or how much the shipping cost is going to be. Um, but that being said, I was able to find where I can get a box. I may go through FedEx to do this one. So, but there you have it. That is the Carney Rex flintlock musket. They do have a flintlock pistol that he designed. Um, I'm gonna say right now that I think that this is probably one of those blasters that doesn't get talked about enough in the hobby community. Um, I rarely ever see it. I knew that it existed, but I've not seen anyone talk about this thing at all, nor any of his other designs. Everyone always focuses on silly butts. They always focus on slug. They always focus on Lidl, which I'm guilty of that. But Carney Rex has made a couple of solid designs, so I'm I might have to build one or two of these because again, this is pretty fun. Um, if you are interested in getting something like this for yourself, and you don't have a 3D printer or you don't trust yourself with creating your own blaster, please reach out to me the same way that Bill did because I will work out a deal with you. These sell pre-assembled on Frontline for like 230 bucks plus shipping. I I did not charge that much at all. On the contrary, I basically charged enough to cover enough for filament, the hardware kit, and just the time. Because yeah, I had a great time with this one. So yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. There was a quick live. I just want to actually show this thing off. Any questions in the chat regarding any of the products that are coming to the consortium, such as the MPX kit? Oh, sorry about that. I'm just catching up on the chat here on my computer, guys. So you had asked about the X Shot Insanity League. General Strife asked about that. I don't know if he's still watching. So that I saw it. Are you talking about the one that kind of looks like a rhino fire? Because all I saw was like a clouded image. It was a low res picture of something that was like blanked out, and it looks like it should have drum magazines on the side, similar to a rhino fire. And I'll be honest, if we're gonna get an Insanity Line rhino fire, um, I'm for it. I mean, I'm all about that. I feel like the rhino fire is one of those blasters that had potential to be modded, but because of the way that they designed it, it was a nightmare. So I'm hoping that with the Insanity Line, Xshot will follow up with their mod-friendly atmosphere of blasters, especially with their flywheels, because they pretty much all share the same flywheel cage. Hopefully, it's like literally a four-motor setup and not like one two motors with a long shaft kind of thing. Kind of like what they did with the Vulcan, but the Dart Zone Vulcanator. So but we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, if it's within the Insanity price range of like about 45 bucks, it'll be worth picking up. Yeah, if it's strife cage geometry or something similar, that's fine. And if it's not, I guarantee you that Buff Daddy Nerf is going to find that geometry really quick. Um, that is actually something that I'm starting to teach myself right now is how to CAD the flywheel cages, because there's a couple out there that I want to be able to do. Um, I still hope to create something for the Vulcanator, where you don't have to worry about using the double-sided motors because yeah, that's annoying. What's going on, Slim Java? So 200 darts. Okay. So it's two. If it's a double-sided drum, like if it's two drums, that means it's going to come with 200 round drum magazines. that's pretty impressive. So, oh, you're going to Conk this Sunday? Awesome. I am actually going this Sunday as well. Obviously, I'm one of the mods for Conk, so naturally I'll be there. Plus, the park is close to me, so yeah, I will naturally be there on Sunday. Um, I'm probably regarding what I'm gonna run. I think for the 150, I might do something really goofy just to start off the season. I might run the sprinter that's hitting 150, um, or maybe I'll bust out the Axis switch. I got one of those. I haven't really messed around with it yet, so but we'll see. I might run one round with the sprinter, one round with the Axis switch, and have at it. Call it a day. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's it's up in the air. Regarding the 250 round, I'll either bust out the Phoenix if I see that we're flywheel heavy or short of flywheels on my team. I'll bust out my Phoenix 2.0 because I have that one hitting like right around 200. And if not, I'll probably bust out. I don't know. Maybe maybe my I don't know. I'll do something. I got to figure out what I'm going to bring. I'll probably bring loaners for people as well. So you're going to use your SBF the whole day. Okay. Well, I hope you're going to be doing dart sweep. Oh, actually, I don't know what's going on. Man, I'm both excited for Sunday and I'm not. So first, I apologize to anyone who's watching who's not in the Conk area. Um, but we've had nothing but rainy weekends, and there's going to be some rain on Friday and Saturday. Sunday's supposed to be partly cloudy, partly sunny. Um, I hope that the rain is dried up enough in time to play at Big Run Park. Because if it's not, yeah, it's gonna be a messy day on Sunday. And the last time that happened, I don't think any of us actually enjoyed ourselves that much over the cleanup afterwards. But you know what? We'll make the best out of it. We're all there basically just to stretch out and say hi to friends that we haven't seen in a long time, anyways, because it's been what, almost 7 months since the last time we were able to fling foam together. So I think September was our last game. So yeah, it'll have been 7 months. It was a really long winter. I think the last time that I did anything with a group was during a very short-lived period during Friendsgiving here that I had some of the people from Conk for a Thanksgiving meal, and we were going to use my backyard, but it was way too cold. And even though I thought I had cleaned up like all the dog mess, apparently there was, man, two dogs just hidden minefields everywhere. Apparently, that's after I did a mine sweep. Not well enough, apparently, but yeah. Plus, it was really cold over Thanksgiving, so we ended up just giving trivia to each other and just shooting each other with high speed blasters at short range if we got the wrong answer. But yeah, still a good time. So since someone's bringing the SBF, I'll make sure to bring my Phoenix too. I'm not fancy enough for an SBF, but it's basically the non 3D printed SBF. Yeah, no, this winter was really bad. It wasn't. So it's funny because it wasn't bad in the traditional sense of it being like a lot of snow. Just that when it did snow, it was bad. It was a lot of snow that fell and it stuck for a long time and it just saturated into the ground. Where I think the ground finally became dry, like maybe like 3 weeks ago, and then it started raining. So yeah, I did actually a film shoot for a LARP group, and we went out to a metro park to go film, and the snow had melted like 4 or 5 days ago before, and all we had was nothing but mud and cold slush that I was trudging through. Thank God that I had my combat boots on because yeah, no, I would not have wanted to use regular shoes. But even with my boots on, I like almost got stuck in the mud. Like my feet sunk down so deep that I almost got stuck in the mud. So yeah, it was bad. But hey, hopefully this weekend's nice and clean. So here we go. There we have it. Now back to the blaster that we're talking about. The drums, man. If it's a 100 round drum magazine, I'm wondering, and hear me out. I'm wondering if they are going to do a similar drum design to the 70 round super drum, but make it longer to fit standard length darts. So instead of just being one big circle, it's like a spiral that goes in on itself. Oh, you got the banana darts from Out of Darts, huh? Um, it's kind of funny. We'll talk at Conk because I might be able to get access to less expensive darts because the problem with Out of Darts is that you pay 16.99 per box, plus the shipping. So depending on how many darts you order, you could probably get it cheaper with the connections that I have through Worker Direct. So we might be able to do something regarding that. Though I will say, if you have a chance, and I'll bring some out for you to test the Liffy Fun darts from Amazon. They have 1 gram, 1.3, and 1.4 gram darts. Way more consistent than Worker darts, and they have the same color scheme. So like they have and I know that somebody brought these out and they were piss poor for flywheels, but for springers they're the ones who made these that the foam juggernaut left on the field that work really well with springers, but they have these little white tipped ones that are also glow in the dark. They light up at night and they're red with white tips, and those are just 1 gram darts that just they're consistent as all hell, and they work well with flywheels. So, but yeah, 1999. Yeah, Liffy Fun. It's this basically it's the same people brand that makes the ZWQ darts. And they are super consistent, like consistently within the FPS variants on those things are within like 4 to 5 FPS on fresh darts. Let me grab some actually. So yeah, so you did Bill. These are the banana darts that he's referring to. Named so because they kind of look like a Chiquita banana with the green tip and the yellow body. These are the worker heavies. They're about I want to say 1.2 gram darts, as opposed to 1.3, which is what Saber makes. So they're a heavier dart. The little difference between the two is that between a regular worker dart and the heavies is that they will fly the same distance. These fly slower, but they fly straighter because it's a heavier mass. So this is what they look like, you know. And then this is the Liffy Fun dart. As you can see, it's the same as the worker head. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because of the white on the glare. Let me move on top. Like there we go. So yeah, these are the ones that I'm talking about. These are 1 gram darts, and they are pretty consistent as well. I've literally launched these things at 380 FPS against a concrete backed wall at 16 feet, and they don't break heads. So they're pretty durable. And at 19.99 for the box with free delivery, yeah, I'm gonna order those any day of the week over Out Darts. God bless Luke Goodman and company, but the shipping from Washington State to Central Ohio is what kills it when it comes to those prices. Even though their price is better than Amazon, you don't have to pay delivery. So yeah, what's going on, AJ? So thank you for tuning in. You're missing the party now. It's just hanging out. But AJ, you actually got so for those in the chat, AJ actually got to see these parts when they were in a box and got to feel this. So he knows the texture that I'm talking about. And you can tell Bill in the chat when I say that it feels like actual wood, it feels like actual wood. So you're stuck in Middletown. Oh, Middletown, Delaware. Sorry, part of the chat was blocked. Yeah, and that's fine. You know, if you pay to support the community, that's more than fine. Like that's not a problem. I can tell you that right now, hopefully you'll pay to support the local community because I am in the process of working out to see if I can get something with Containment Crew, so I can add on to their next order from Worker, so we can split the pallet, and that way I can actually carry them on my store as well. Because yeah, the darts are going to be. It's not a. It's not going to be a moneymaker. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be to drive more business to the store itself. If you can pick up some darts and also pick up a hardware kit, you know, or I should say a 3D printed kit, there you have it. I could probably, based on the price that I get, I could probably afford to sell the darts, depending on how much the tariffs are, right around $12 to $13 per box, and still be making a couple of dollars per box, depending on how many I sell. So there's that. Because at ordering just 10 boxes for myself, I'm paying right around $8.50, but then I have to pay the tariff to actually get it shipped here. But if I order more boxes, let's say if I order like I don't know, 50, 60 units, then the price drops down to like $6 a box, and the tariff is going to be still a little bit more, but not as much if I add with somebody else. What are you talking about? You need to make a new blaster anyways. A bullpen blaster. Okay. All right. That'll be interesting. I know that I might. I need to get this one out. I need to get this one out. I do need to film this though, because I'm actually going to film an actual review on this one. Who knows? I might give this one last hurrah on Sunday. Not actually run it in a game, but do some photos with it at the park, because this definitely deserves a second look. Bill, obviously you're going to get it. I promise it's going to be in pristine condition. But yeah, this is a photo shoot waiting to happen. Speaking of bullpups, hopefully soon I'll be getting something to run at Conk for the higher FPS rounds, because I'll be getting my S400 here soon. So I worked out a deal with Gims Mods where he wanted to order 3 of these kits, 1 for himself and 2 to give away at Armageddon. And he asked me what the price would be, and I told him, I was like, hey, listen, with the discount I give you for the 3 kits, just buy me an S400 and we'll call it a day. So it should be on its way here from M416. But yeah. Oh, look at that. My TV turned on in the background. So, but yeah. No, Bill, I'm not going to run this necessarily around because again, it is a hefty blaster. Plus, with the single shot, I mean, if I was to convince the group to be like, hey, let's do a single shot blaster round. You can reload as many times as you want, but it has to be a single shot, like a gimmick round. Then I might do it. But yeah, the problem with this blaster is that the way that it's designed, it falls into a weird category of blasters that are too powerful for 150 and severely outclassed in a 250 round because not only does it not quite hit that 250, but the reload time is so slow because again, it is made to function like an actual musket. So you're running into that situation. But might I take it actually for photos and play with it there? Maybe peg a couple people with it. Why not? Because again, this is fun. I remember when I printed out the Calypso the first time and brought it there. It was all hands, and it turned into one person asking me to make them one and annoying the crap out of other people by taking mine and shooting other people with it. So well, actually, let me test something here because I've not fired a worker heavy through this thing yet. Let's see what this gets. $152 with worker heavies. So, there's that. Though that was a worn out worker heavy because I shot 183 with a saber dart earlier. Interesting. That would be an interesting round to play. Those are fun little gimmick rounds, honestly. That's definitely one where I would actually take this thing out because the in spite of it being a flintlock musket, the aim on it is actually pretty accurate. Oddly enough, you aim by using this little nubbin in the front, and that lines up your shot. Not with this one. Oddly enough, AJ, not with this one. This one, it's not quite built to that spec. It's not like the Hidalfer. Um, I built this one to the specs that Carney Rex made. Um, I did use some more walls than it called upon. So I think that he used 3 walls. I think I used like 5 for almost everything except for the ramrod because there's a lot of pressure on it. So I did that as basically like solid plastic. So that being said, the blaster itself, you can probably um, break it if if you're not careful. But I mean, yeah, that'll definitely hurt if you knock somebody on the noggin, just beat them with it. So, but I'm not going to do that with Bill's blaster. So that being said, let me get this up before I end up letting it fall and it breaking. So. Oh. So yeah, so that's it. The other thing that I'm going to tease really quick, I'm resurrecting a product, and oh, what happened here? So okay, the flintlock musket cannot take a B car. Um, the reason being is because it's a brass barrel, and the brass barrel is sunken into a location with a funnel where you just drop the dart in and it hits into the funnel and slides into the brass barrel. That's why it can't take a B car. So it is a brass barrel. It's not an aluminum barrel in there, and that same funnel is what you plug rival round into. So it's not you can't really put a B car in it. No, there's not an exposed barrel to put a B car in. Um, but that gives it the realistic feel because it's a musket, and actual muskets were not the most accurate blasters or weapons. So now, really quick, what I'm going to show in this live, because I'm working on bringing it back. I've been paying attention to what's been going on in the nerfed thrift environment, and with the release of the NPX2, I have seen an awful lot of original Nexus Pros coming into play, and people that had never had a Nexus Pro finding them and thrifting them and wanting to mod them. Oh, the shot. Did I ever get it working? Um, no. I was going to. I was filming, and the collective fit that I had with that thing, it would have been great entertainment. Um, how can I say this? Not getting political. Understand? I have to mention one political figure in this. If you're familiar with a certain audio that may be AI, maybe not, of a certain president having a temper tantrum over the release of certain files, saying something like "start a war," "do this," "I don't care," "just don't release the." So that was kind of like the volume that I had while working on it. Um, the truth is that what was wrong with it is that it was broken on the inside. That's the truth. There were parts broken on the actual inside of it of the blaster itself that were causing it not to prime and causing it not to release. And because of the fact that the blaster, even though it is 3D printed, there are no files for it whatsoever. It was not repairable. So um, it was a part that was inside that was just broken. So there's that. But oddly enough, I did strip the parts of it. The plunger tube is actually pretty decent. The spring was what I put into my Delta Pro, and with the Delta Pro, with that spring from that blaster, it hits 180. And AJ can tell you the prime on it. It's a good prime, and it, yeah. I mean, it's in the outside, or else I'd get it and you could actually hear it. You can hear that blaster when it fires, and it is not. It sounds like it hurts when you fire that thing. Don't apologize at all. Do not apologize at all. Again, I had never even seen the blaster, so it was kind of a treat for me to take it apart. Um, it was just very, yeah. I mean, I recycled what I could from it. The 3D printed parts were gone because like it's proprietary. But I recycled like the screws, the plunger tube, the spring, the there was a O-ring pad that the impact pad for the plunger. I recycled that I can use later on for something else if you have to glue it in. But yeah, it was an exercise in frustration. Um, Not completely unlike the Dome Blaster that was gifted to me by Gimsmonts, which came to me with like issues, but had to figure out how to take that one apart, and then I realized, oh, it's literally just a slab remake. Someone took Silly Butts' idea and sold it in Asia. So yeah. Um, but as I was saying though, regarding the product, I'll give a teaser to it. Let me grab it here. So well, it's missing the front rail because the front part of it because I didn't secure it yet. But there is a certain person who's no longer in business, um, and we know what store we're talking about. A certain foam pandemic that actually had a design created for them by France Foamworks. Now, when I inherited France's files, I saw one of those file names and I was like, oh, what's this? Now, I could have launched and had that file ready to go and started a big stink because they would have accused me of stealing work from them. However, I chose to wait because I knew that the writing was on the wall. Um, so that being said, the SOCOM kits for the original Nexus Pro will be coming out again soon. courtesy of the Consortium. And the main difference being is that unlike that individual and their print quality being absolute shit, um, yeah, you know what I'm saying. You'll have something that's much harder and much sturdier. So that'll be launching soon. I just got to finish printing up the kit. I have to figure out how I'm going to do the flat bars for the buttstock, or just use the buttstock that I designed for the MPX because it's just a mil spec buffer tube stock, and go from there. But watch this space. So, anywho, that's pretty much it for the live, guys. That's all I had for tonight. Again, I showed off the NPX2. Wanted to feature that Carney Rex blaster because, again, I'm really proud of how that blaster came out. It is probably one of my coolest looking prints that I've done. The most aesthetically pleasing and hyper realistic blaster that I've ever made. I literally had to warn when I went into the FedEx office that it was not an actual weapon, because I brought it in so I can get a box for it. So, yeah. But that being said, thank you all for watching. What am I saying? What do you mean, what am I saying? Am I saying that a certain person whose shop on Etsy shut down recently had shitty print quality because they used shitty printers and shitty filament and had shitty business practices and were known in the hobby as, just being a shitty business person? Is that what I'm saying? Speaking. Really? You want to tell the Latino that? All right, okay. It's, you're lucky. I know that you're Native American. Anyways, yeah, good night, everyone. AJ's got jokes in the chat. So thank y'all for watching. And yeah, those who know how to message me, feel free to message me there. But yeah, I'll catch y'all next time.